Where are all my friends? Sam Morrison.
Right here. The
Dude,
homies are here.
It happened. It's about time.
Finally, yeah. Long overdue.
I'm so hyped. Like, it's one of those things, like, you're here, we sit down, and instantly I just feel like I'm with, like, one of my best friends.
Yeah, man.
And we've only talked on the internet.
I know. Crazy.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I love moments like this.
I'm excited. And bro, you've created, and like, just your house, your space, man. Like, I don't know. It's just certain people, you can tell they have just like the spirit of hospitality on them. And like, that's like you and obviously your roommate. So it's like, this feels like home, and I've been here for the first time.
Yes, that means so much to me.
Of course, man.
Because when I moved to LA, I was like, it felt so hustle bustle, hectic, everything. Yeah. And I love having a home where it's just like you can chill, just and it's like a little bit more like welcome. So I love that you said that. That makes me so happy.
I think
the best
I want to move out here at some point. I think I'll probably make the jump to move. And I really like Pasadena. I like Pasadena a lot. I'm very like suburban, and I want to be kind of off in the cut. But like my dream, bro, is I'd love to have a space that is like this, very homey. I'd love to invite people over and just have matchas and just kick it, like that. Like I want to host people, I think that's really, really cool. So I love that you're doing this, man. It's awesome.
Dude, that's so cool. Yeah. Where that's the perfect start. So where do you live now? Where are you from?
Yeah.
Like, take me back, because there's a lot that I want to learn about you. I think
there's a lot that not many people know about me.
Yeah,
like people think I live in LA.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well, that's because you're so tapped in.
Yeah,
is why.
Yeah. And I'm always here. It's a flight. I'm here at least like once a week, so I technically do live here in a sense.
Feels like that. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason that I'm so excited to have you on the pod. I normally do this, so I say, for a listener who doesn't know who you are, a quick explanation of who you are and what you do.
Yeah. And
I'll tag onto that too. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's funny because I still am like, who am I?
It's
like,
kind of a hard one.
What does Sam really do? But long story short, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, by way of Leesburg, Virginia, which is 45 minutes outside of the DC area. And so I actually went to high school in DC. My father played for what was the Washington Redskins back in the day, but now the Washington Commanders. So he played for them for 4 years. So I grew up in like the Northern Virginia area, super big football kid. And then I played football middle school, high school, and then was blessed enough to get a full ride scholarship to play football at the University of Arizona. And so I left Virginia in 2015, played football for 4 years at U of A. I played my 5th year at San Diego State University, and then moved back home with my family, because my family moved to Phoenix when I was 18. So they moved, and I essentially picked U of A because they were moving. I knew they were moving. Yeah. I was pretty close to going to Duke. Like I was verbally committed to Duke for a little bit. Like I was very excited about Duke, but then Arizona offered me, and my life is just so many moving parts and pieces. But my dad played football at U of A as well. Yeah. So it was like a big legacy thing. So I was like, I want to go play football where my dad played. Yeah. And so they offered me a scholarship. I headed out there, when I was 18 years old. And then I've been out in Arizona for the last 7 years. So
holy crap. So like you could have had a whole different life.
Oh yeah. My life, I think, because my mom went to U of A as well. So U of A is like a family school. Yeah. Dad went there, mom went there, I went there. My sister worked there for a little bit. So it's like U of A is definitely in our blood. But my mom, when I chose U of A over Duke, she broke down. She cried, man. Like she was so sad, because she was like, we worked so hard to give you better than us, and you choose U of A, and like you could have gone to Duke. But it's just crazy because I think about that often. Yeah. But I wouldn't change it for anything. Like there are so many pivotal things that happened to me at U of A and afterwards, to where it's like, if I went to Duke, who knows if I would have been in the music industry? Like I could have been working some boring, accounting job.
Yeah. And like coming back to like, not a lot of people know about you, or maybe all the things like, I see what you're doing. Like I see Early Rising, and that was such an inspiration to me. And I like respect that so much. And we'll dig into that heavy. For sure. Obviously, I know you write for Lyrical Lemonade as well. You're a part of that. Like you have a lot of really cool things that you're doing behind the scenes in the industry. Yeah. So like when you're starting to tell me about like this whole legacy of college and football, I'm like, what?
I lived
like,
a completely different life, man.
I want to hear about this leading into music. Yeah. Because I think we'll have a great discussion in music, and I love your mind and how you look at music. But like, what did that look like? So you had this crazy college decision. Where does music come into it? Like, did you think you'd go pro playing football?
Man,
like,
bro, we're gonna hit some deep points for sure. So I always like to say that my life growing up, it was honestly like a legitimate real life High School Musical, in the sense where I loved music from a young age. I loved acting and just like I loved all, the creative things.
Yeah.
But my dad played football. His best friends are Hall of Famers and things like that. My godfather. So like football was like in the family heavily. My little brother, he's actually a freshman at Notre Dame. He plays football at Notre Dame. So
no way.
Yeah, me and my siblings, there's 5 of us. We all got full rides. So my parents haven't paid for college yet, which is nuts. So
insane,
which is crazy. But yeah, man, I grew up like knowing I loved music. I tell my sister this, but if I ever win a Grammy for anything, if I'm ever attached to a Grammy, I'm the person who deserves a lot of praise is my older sister. My older sister just, because we grew up, my dad, after he finished up playing the NFL, he became a pastor. So we grew up in the church. And so like the whole relationship with like Christian music and gospel and secular music, it was so weird. And so my mom wouldn't really let us listen to like regular, like, pop music like that until I was like, probably like, I want to say 10, 11, 12-ish. My sister just started playing me like Corinne Bailey Rae. She'd play me Natasha Bedingfield. I'd listen to Christina Aguilera. And I remember I heard this one Christina Aguilera song called You Lost Me. And I just like, I was like, this is music. I was like, that song is like ingrained in my head as the moment I knew, okay, cool. Like music is powerful. And so always had like a good ear, like had a good, understanding of what's good, why a song is good, why people listen to it. And that kind of carried me throughout high school. In the car, I was the first one to get kicked off the aux because it's like everyone wants to hear, Pitbull and Tayo Cruz. And I'm aging myself right now, but yeah, Pitbull, Tayo Cruz, like Kesha, like everyone's playing these, like the Flow Riders, like everyone's playing these mainstream songs. But I was just like, man, like, let's listen to like some underground stuff. Let's try to find the artists who are going to be that in 2 years. And everyone's like, nah, man, like we don't know this, because people want to sing along to music when you're, 13, 14 years old. And so I went throughout high school and just had, this ear and was just listening to music all the time as much as I could, playing football and things like that. I remember my dad, I was like, Dad, I want to join the school play. I want to do this. And he was like, bro, if you want to get a full ride scholarship, you can't do that. Like you have to focus on football. So really like Troy Bolton, right? Like my dad living out it was crazy. And so, yeah, I ended up following the whole football path because I was good, right? I had a bunch of scholarship offers, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
And so played football. I got to the University of Arizona and I tore my shoulder my junior year. Yeah, I tore my shoulder. Like I had a complete labrum tear for like, a year, was playing on it, and just like I wrecked my shoulder completely. And shit. I had surgery, and surgery is so weird, bro. Like it's tangent, but surgery is weird in the sense where it's like, it's crazy that there's technology that can like knock you out unconscious without, like it's nuts. So like,
dude, I've been there too. Like unfortunate
surgery's weird.
On my leg and shit.
Like,
and like
it's weird.
It's also weird being young and having like a fucked up injury.
Oh yeah.
Cause like we're at that age, like we don't really take for granted how normal and working our bodies are.
Oh
right?
yeah, exactly.
So then you have an injury where it's so fucked that you need surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, well, that's weird. Yeah, and then the recovery and the healing process.
Yeah, because it just showed like surgery just made me realize like, yo, Sam, you are not in control like you think you do.
We are so fucking fragile.
Oh my goodness, we're so fragile. And so surgery really messed me up because like I was trying to bounce back into football, had a cool career, but I made some mistakes here and there and just like wasn't really achieving what I thought I'd achieve in football. Before the surgery, I was like, okay, cool, this is my bounce back year. And so I had surgery and the doctor's like, yeah, this is a 6 to 9 month recovery. I took 12. Like I was like, I'm making sure the shoulder's right. So I took 12. So it took me a year to really get back. And so that's a year of not playing football. That's a year of not being on the field. That's a year of not really working out like that. It's a year of just rehab.
You lose your hours in. You lose like that edge.
Exactly. So I would just sit in my coach's office and like cut up film and just like help them out with scouting reports and things like that. And I sat there and I was like, okay, God, I know that I love music and I know that I have a year to do nothing, right? Like no one's counting on me to make a big play or, make a stop in a game. Like I'm good. And so this is when I was trying to get into business school, which I didn't get into business school at all. I got actually denied, which is funny because I now run a business, which doesn't make sense. But there was this business a cappella club. And
sorry, a business a cappella club?
Yeah, so in the business school, there were these like really, there was these interesting like offshoot clubs within the business school. And so as I was trying to get in, they're like, hey, like you need extracurriculars other than football because like, football's football. And so I was like, you know what? I was like, let me try acapella.
You sing about like Excel formulas? What the fuck?
We were singing about the craziest junk, but we would sing at like these business functions. It's like,
oh, okay.
We'd pull up in like suits and ties and just get it in. And
it reminds me of like Andy Bernard in The Office.
That exactly, literally like just that. Literally just that. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I was kind of just like, I was just sick of always being around the football office. I was like, man, let me go to a different side of the campus and just like be around people I usually wouldn't see. And so I joined the Eller College of Business, the Eller Acapella Club. And I don't know how, but like I ended up being vice president of the, crazy. And like, I can't even like, can I sing? I can sing. Like I can, certain songs I can sing. And so like, I think, like, because me and my siblings, we grew up just singing and doing skits and talent shows and whatnot. Yeah. And so like I can hold a note. So I was like, you know what, like let me do this as an extracurricular, you know, whatever. And I just fell in love. I was like, this is super cool. I was just around artists and musicians. And that's kind of how, that was honestly like the first step into the music industry for me. Yeah. Just because like I heard that, man, there's so many, and even to backtrack a bit, I knew I wanted to be in music when I was around like 15, no, probably like 12. I knew I wanted to be in music when I was around like 12. The moment that like confirmed this for me, and I wish I would have started with this, but it's all good. The moment that confirmed it for me, I saw Justin Bieber's Never Say Never film, the documentary. And I was just so enamored by Scooter Braun. I was like, wait, I was like, this man found Bieber and like developed him and blew him up. And like, that's his job. His job is to literally like help an artist. I was like, that film. Like I was young. I remember we saw it in Pittsburgh with my mom. We were visiting her mom, and I was just like, "This is what I want to do." I was like, "This is it." But I was 14 years old. But that was all
that moment where you were like, "Oh, here's this thing that I didn't know was possible."
Had no idea.
And you're like, "That's crazy."
I was like that, like seeing like Scooter Braun take him to Usher and L.A. Reid, like seeing all that, and I was like, "That is nuts!" That he found an artist off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Like a young artist off of YouTube, and now he's one of the biggest stars in the world. I was like, I can do that. Like, I was like, let me do that. Like, so I was just like I hopped on YouTube and I was like, yo, who's the next star? Right. Like, it's hilarious. But that was, I think, the moment that I knew, okay, cool. Music will be in my life in some way. I just didn't know how.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. So it's like you found that at 14.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have this gift where you're great at football. You have this full ride. Your family's done it. So it really is High School Musical vibes where like you love both.
I love
both.
You're
listening to music with your sister. Like you're getting you're seeing it. You're getting exposure to it. You're finding things on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're trying stuff. You're doing the acapella group. But you are still doing like the college thing, and like
exactly.
you're just kind of
like I was doing what made sense, right? I was doing what seemed to be like the path. Hey, you do high school, you graduate, you go play college football. I mean, that's not the path for everyone, but you go play college football, you go to college.
Your family, it was the path.
It was for all of us. That definitely was the path. But that was. I wish. Sorry for the non-linear transition.
That's you actually painted it well. Like, as you explain it, how could you do a linear? Because both of these things are happening at once.
Exactly.
But where I'm really interested is like, here you are all in music. So there had to have been a moment where it was like, all right, like football is not it. And you like fully double down. Like, does Early Rising happen around this time?
So acapella. So I could sing, whatever, but I just fell in love with just the artist side of things. Like I was like, man, this is cool. So I would hang out with a lot of like producers and artists out in Tucson, Arizona, which is not a music hub at all. I hope it becomes one day, but it's not right now. And my buddies were like, Sam, they're like, you should manage. And I was like, and at that point I was like, oh, Scooter Braun managed. And I was like, and so I'm grabbing on and looking back to that old passion of like, dang, like Scooter Braun, management has been a thing I've wanted to do. Right. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started managing like in college. I didn't know what management was. I thought management was just like, I was like, I'm just going to help and see how I can serve. And so I remember I reached out to an artist in San Diego who I found on Apple Music. And I was like, hey bro, love the music. Super cool. Like I'm a fan, like anything I can do to serve you, let me know. And he hit me back and, we chatted for a little bit. We lost contact for like a month. And then he put on his story. He was like, yo, I'm looking for a manager. And I was like, I remember I DM'd him. I was like, hey, bro, I don't know what management is. I don't know what that entails, but let me just help. Like anything I can do to serve you, bro, I got you.
Respect for the honesty there. Too.
Yeah, I was like, cool. Bro, I was like, man, I don't know. I will not tell you I can do this because I don't know what that is.
Well, there's
right?
two kinds of people though, because I could see like, you know, there is the DM where you're like, dude, I got this. Like,
no, I was just like, bro, I don't know what I could do for you, but let me do something for you.
Yeah.
And he quickly became one of my really good friends, and so started managing him. And this was 2018. Yeah, 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2018.
So this is not that long ago.
It's 4 years ago. Yeah. So 2018, I'm 21 years old. And at that time, I was like, okay, cool. If I want to do anything for him first, I want to get him on a blog. Like I need to show him that I can get him on a blog. And so God is so good in the sense that he just puts people in your life and he just like orchestrates really cool moments that end up shaping, you know, your life in a way that you wouldn't expect. I remember I go home for Christmas break and I go through every blog I can find, and I stumble, and it's crazy because I'm like, what even led me to like stopping on Lyrical Lemonade? Like what led me to that, right? Like I remember I was just in my room one night and I was just scrolling through blogs.
So you didn't know it before?
Not really. I knew like, I remember I was trying to get some stuff done over at Up Rocks and like different things like that. Yeah. And I just looked up, I was like, you know, what are some of the top blogs out there? Lyrical Lemonade, like number 1 and number 2. And so I go through Lyrical Lemonade's, you know, writing section, their articles, and I'm just like trying to find writers on there. I'm like, okay, cool, like writer, and find a guy named Elliot Montanez, who is the editor of he runs the website, Twitter, like Elliot is the GOAT. Like I owe a lot to Elliot. Wow. I reached out to Elliot and I was like, hey man, like I'm pretty sure I still have the DM. I wish I had a screenshot of this stuff and so I could read it, but I still have actually, let me find it.
Cool.
Because I think this is very important to the story. Okay. You ready for this? Okay. And so another part of the story is that while I was managing, I reached out to a guy named Eric. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with 2 managers in particular. Yeah. Scooter Braun and Pat Corcoran. I remember in between
Pat Corcoran, Chance's manager?
Yeah.
Dude.
Obsessed.
Oh my God.
Obsessed.
We have like not the same story at all, but like for a minute similar. When I was like from label to like figuring things out, I was managing. Wow. And like Pat was the fucking GOAT.
Yeah.
Like, that 100%. Was the person that like everything he said. I think he did a blueprint interview.
Oh yeah. Complex. Yeah. Him and Scooter had the complex.
Notes on that shit.
Oh, the complex blueprint interviews were like vital to me. Oh my goodness. And so this was in between me reaching out to Lyrical, and this is when I was still managing. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, how do I manage? And so I find Pat's Instagram, and I was like, I probably can't get to Pat, but I was like, let me see if there's anyone in his circle I can reach out to. And so I see a picture of him and this guy named Eric. And I was like, Eric seems super tight. Seems like he'd reach back out to me. And so I DM Eric and I was like, hey bro, I was like, hey man, like I would just love advice. Like, can you just give me advice? And Eric was like one of the first people to like respond and say, hey man, like do this. And he was basically just like, man, he's like, serve, just help. And that was pivotal. And so I reached out, and he actually was like, yeah, bro, get him on blogs, things like that. So I reached out to Elliot. Turns out Elliot and Eric are actually brothers.
No way.
Yes. Like brothers, because Chicago, right? So Pat, Chicago, Eric, Chicago, Elliot, Chicago, Elliot, Lyrical Lemonade. Crazy. I was like, dang, like that's your brother. And so I reached out to Elliot on November 28th, 2018. This is Thanksgiving break, actually. Yeah. I said, hey, Elliot, my name is Sam Morrison. I'm a football player at the University of Arizona. On top of playing ball, I'm also an artist manager. First off, just want to let you know I'm a huge fan of your work at Lyrical Lemonade. I currently manage a really dope rapper from San Diego, and I'm at this point in my career where I really want to learn from awesome people in the industry like yourself and find ways to get my guy some exposure. Wanted to see if you'd be down to hop on a phone call at some point. It would mean the world if you could give any advice or insight to a young hustler like myself, and even maybe check out my guy's stuff to see if he's Lyrical Lemonade worthy. Keep killing it, bro. God bless. Sam Morrison, my number. And damn, nuts, solid, bro. It was good. I'm like a young hustler. What am I talking about?
No, but like I like that in that, like I like as I'm reading that or hearing you read that, I'm like, if I got that DM, how would I feel? How would I respond? And I'm like, you're honest.
Yeah.
You have confidence in yourself and you know you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
But you're not cocky. Like that's actually, as far as like early days DM, like
it was cool. It's one of my, I mean, it's what got me to where I'm at. Like this DM is what started. This DM is what started everything. This DM right here is what started everything. So
I can't believe that you can point back to that.
This is the moment that started every. Without this DM, there wouldn't be an Early Rising or a Sam at Lyrical or a Sam at Elite. Like there wouldn't be any of this at all. Like without this DM, November 28th, and that's like God just be over here moving me around and just sending me places. But
so what happened?
So November 28th, 2018, 2 hours later, he hits me up. He says, "What's good, bro? Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. I'd definitely be down to hop on a call. I'm about to head to Mexico for about 10 days, but let's get on a call when I'm back." I said, "Let's do it, bro. Enjoy the break in Mexico. That's going to be a dope time. I appreciate you getting back to me, my man. We'll talk soon." Yeah. December 11th, right? So I'm now on Christmas break at this time. Yeah. I finished up finals and I failed a bunch of finals. So I was sick to my stomach. But December 11th, 2018, he says, "What's good, bro? You free?"
He comes to you?
Yeah. He hit me. Yeah. He hit me back.
What a guy. Yeah.
So 3:21, he hits me. He says, "What's good, bro? You free?" 3:23
PM.
PM. Okay. 3:23, I'm like, "Oh, yes, sir." Like, I was like, "I'm chilling all day." I was like, "You back from vacay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got back yesterday. Want to set up a call for tomorrow." I was like, "Let's do it." And, we set up a call. He's like, noon Chicago time. I was like, "That's perfect. What's your line?" I sent him my number. This was December 12th. And then the next exchange we have together is me mentioning him in my story saying like my first article is published. And so essentially what happened was reach out to Elliot. He hits me back. We chat and I'm giving him just the spiel. I was like, "Bro, I played football. I love music. Like I was an a cappella club. I did this and like that."
What you told me, like
pretty much everything.
Short version.
I told him the short abridged version. It may have been long because we're on the phone for a long time and I remember it. But I'm just expecting him to say yes to writing an article, which was going to be good enough for me. I was like, if you just write an article, I'm cool with this, bro. Like I will be forever indebted. Like I will name my kids after you, like stuff like that. Like, I was like, bro, like anything to get an article, which looking back, I'm just like, dang, like it's crazy how quickly the blog space has shifted. But he was like, "Man, that's all cool." He's like, "I'm super down to write." But he's like, "Man, tell me more about you. Like, tell me more." And I was just, we started talking about just more life stuff and, my goals in music and just like what music means to me. And he's like, "Man," he's like, "I can definitely write an article for you." But he was like, "We actually need an extra writer. Like, do you want to write?" And I'm at the, like, bro, at this point, dog, I'm like, it was like, I was in my little brother's room, just like sitting on the ground. And I was like, no way.
Oh my God.
I was like, this fool asked me to write for Lyrical Lemonade. And at that moment, like you could hear like sirens in my head. I'm just like losing my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I was just like, and like me, I just never want to let anyone down. And I was like, "Yeah, bro, like what does that entail?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, like just write this much." He's like, "It's really easy. Just like write what you feel like writing." He's like, "I trust your taste." Which was nuts because like he didn't know me,
Right.
He didn't know me at all.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, nuts. And so he gave me a chance. Like he gave me a chance.
Yeah.
And it's nuts because he could have rolled over on the wrong side of the bed that morning and just been not in the mood to talk and give some, like it's just nuts how because of someone's kindness, my life has been impacted forever. Because of someone's just generosity, my life has been impacted forever. And like that's a big reason why I try and, pay that back and love people. Because it's like without Elliot's kindness, like for real, like without Elliot's kindness, I would not be where I'm at right now. And so I started blogging.
Wait.
Yeah.
Let's like act.
Yeah.
You just said it.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment to echo exactly that. Because like maybe that's why you and I are talking right now too.
Yeah.
But that moment, what Elliot did for you.
Nuts.
Like that example needs to be set more. That needs to be talked about more. That needs to be praised more. That's like, I mean, so much of my purpose with this podcast, sharing these stories, trying to help people, trying to motivate people, trying to share this knowledge, right? I hate the opposite of that. I hate the people that are too cool. Like, what is that weird insecurity that doesn't pay it forward and help? And like, he didn't have to do that.
Oh, and he did not, bro.
You did it right. You respectfully hit him up. You didn't punish him. It wasn't a novel. No. It wasn't like, "Hey, put me on."
Hey, bro. Yeah.
Right. Like you did that side right.
Yeah.
But like, God, people like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy that people in life have the chance to be that for people, or to be the opposite of that, to become this accidental villain for being too cool for someone. And like, I love that you told that story and you shared that in detail.
Yeah, it's
and
special.
I hope that anybody that listens to this realizes like you don't know when you can be that person to someone else.
You have no idea.
Like he probably now knows as the homie.
Oh yeah, man. I let him know. I'm like, bro. I let him know all the time. Like, bro, you helped me so much. And he's like, I still write for the team. Like, I'll never. Like as long as Lyrical's around, like I will never turn my back on Lyrical. Like that is.
That's family. Like
that's fam.
everything.
Without them, there is no me. And so it's like, I'll never sit here. Like it's just, and I give people grace because I mean, there have been times where I've, been in ruts where I haven't want to talk to anybody, but I think anytime that I not necessarily turn the cold shoulder, just like think, I think you just forget,
you forget, you get busy.
Yeah.
I think that I feel like a weird guilt when I do get a little too busy 100%. Because like, I always want to be that person.
Yeah, 100%.
I always want to be the person that gives people the time of day. And I think there has to be an understanding and an empathy on both sides.
Definitely, like, 100%.
If you don't get the DM back, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
But if you sent it well and you respect the person and you genuinely want to connect, send it again. Yeah. And don't think that it's just that they're too big or too cool for you. Maybe they're busy.
Yeah.
And then if you're the one that is busy, take that extra second to double check those DMs and give somebody 5, 10 an hour.
Exactly.
Like, because here you are with a career and like a dream came true for that. Like,
100%.
That is everything.
It's cool. Like, and what I've realized is like the one thing that's kind of freed me from, I think, expectations of just people and like being let down, which is something that I'm actively learning about that more right now, is just like, as much as we'd like to think they do, people don't really owe us anything, which is honestly what makes those random acts of kindness so much better, because it's like, like, I think that's because when you understand like, hey, like this person has their own life, their own career, their own jobs, like, they don't owe me a thing, but they're still giving me the time of day. Like, that's special, right?
That's the really right attitude.
Yeah.
That's when you're the person reaching out. It's that. Yeah. Is that nobody owes you anything. Yeah. But when you do get that time of day, how special that is.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll always go on record just saying like Eric and Elliot were two guys who just gave me a chance and it changed my life. Like, and shout out them, shout out the Lord for just placing me in really cool situations. Yeah. I didn't deserve it. I was just failed some finals. Like, I should have been punished for failing accounting twice.
Also, I hope you do give yourself credit, because even the way, like, as you were explaining that, like, though it seems simple, you're reverse engineering, being like, I found an artist. Like, okay, so you found an artist. Not everybody would do that. You saw a documentary that inspired you to find an artist. You found an artist. Yeah. Then you offered to help. Yeah. Completely, like, not in a selfish way, it sounds, but just in a way, I want to be involved. I don't know what it takes to be a manager. Let me help. Yeah. You start thinking about blogs. Yeah. Then you do your research and find blogs. Yeah. You then find Lyrical Lemonade, right? So like all of these things that you did casually take a certain amount of a good personal internal compass of discovery and doing the right steps. Yeah. So I hope you give yourself credit for that, because there are a lot of lessons in there. Definitely. And then met with the higher power and like all of the universal lining. 100%. But it's just like that. I love that you shared that moment, because that's so important for me to hear and share in this podcast, because like, oh my God, here you are with a career because of that.
It's cool. It's a blessing, man. Like it's a blessing. And so, from there, man, like I just kind of ran with it. Yeah. I was having fun. Yeah. Right. When Elliot said, bro, write whatever you want to write, it was cool, because I was like, dang, like I now get to showcase my taste. Like the same homies in high school who were saying, get off the Hawks, like we're now reading my articles, right? Yeah. Which is cool. And so I remember vividly just like some of the first artists that I like found and like reached out to. Like I've DMs, which it's the coolest thing, because I mean she still follows me, which I'm super excited about. An early homie, and this stuff was Remy Wolf. Like I reached out to her in like 2018, 2019. I have the DM from her as well. And I was just like, same. Let me find it.
Yeah. Dude, I love that you're doing that too, because it makes it like, it brings me there. It makes it that much more real. It makes it feel that much more possible.
Yeah, it's super cool. And like,
it's like, oh fuck, no, like legit, everybody has Instagram. It's everybody so cool. Can do that.
This was February 20th, 2019. I said, what's up, Remy? My name is Sam Morrison. I write for Lyrical Lemonade. I really love your song Guy. Would love to put an article together and throw it on our page. Let me know if you'd be down. Hey, that'd be awesome. Let me know if you need anything from me. And she sends me her bio like super early, right? And like, that was just cool, because like I wrote an article for her. I think that was the first time Lyrical had ever covered her. She had one song out, I'm pretty sure. I think it was just Guy. Yeah. And just to blink and see what she's done over like the span of 3 years, like I'm so like, I don't care if I ever talk to you again. Like I'm just grateful for that moment. Like that is such a cool moment. And so I just began tastemaking. I just began reaching out to artists, finding artists, and was writing about some really cool people, to the point where I was like, man, like so I've written about And it's funny because like my peak of writing, not my peak, but I finished up football. I finished up school at U of A, and I got the Lyrical Lemonade gig in 2018, December. I graduated from U of A in May of 2019. I then really wanted to just finish school and like move to LA. But my dad was just like, bro, he was like, one, you still have one more year left of eligibility. Like, go see if you can play somewhere else and kind of delay adulthood since you're still trying to figure out your life. And I was like, no, I want to move to LA. He's like, you can move to LA, but like, how are you going to survive? And I was like, I don't know. And so I ended up playing football for my last year, my 5th year. So I went to grad school at San Diego State. So I have my master's, which is nuts.
Cool,
yeah.
Respect.
So yeah. So
it's funny because college comes up a lot on the podcast, like all of us young professionals kind of finding that path. Some people like full dropout, other people go through it. Yeah. And I'm kind of team like, I don't think college is a good idea if you don't know what you're doing and you're putting yourself in debt.
I agree.
That sucks because now 1,000%. You're getting out of college with debt, with skills that are like in a vacuum, but they don't always apply to real life. But if you got that shit paid for, and easy. You can be doing you integrated both. You did that work. Like,
if I'll tell you this, my kids, I talk about my kids a lot. I don't have kids. I don't have enough girlfriend. But like my kids, unless they get a full ride or they know exactly what they want to do, like a med school or whatever, it's like, we can figure something out. Right. You know, it's like, you can stay at home, you can begin working, you can, you know, we'll get you trapped. Like, we'll do something that's actually like, cause like college is cool. I think the one thing for me, I don't like the narrative that everyone bashes on college, but like it's very easy sometimes to tell people who like went to college and excelled. Like, I think college the one thing that I know about college taught me so much about people, but also deadlines. Like college taught me so much as far as like, yo, you got a paper due at midnight. It's 7. You had football practice. You got like, how are you going to make this happen? Right? Like, how are you going to prioritize your, like, college is really, it's a lot of people's skills, but also just like learning how to multitask, learning how to communicate with professors and turn things in. And like college is good for people skills. Now, am I going to sit and say that you got to pay 30 grand a year to get people skills? No, but I do think there is some benefit in college, and I learned a lot and I'm very grateful for it. But at the same time, it's like, there's so many cool ways to learn. And like you said, like debt is a real thing. There's a lot of people who cannot live their lives well because they put themselves in debt and it's hard. So so college, all that. And so, I went to grad school, and from 2018 to like 2020, I just grinded. I was like, I'm going to find really cool artists, and I'm going to make it a point to connect with every single artist, you know, because I want relationships. Right. And so to this day, I've written around like 800 articles, and I'm pretty sure I've connected person with every single artist I've ever written about. Every artist I've written about, I'm pretty sure, give or take like maybe 10 to 20 here and there, but every artist I've written about, like I'm either friends with, I know them. Right. And so I just slowly became the person that everyone went to because they're like, yo, Sam writes great articles and he's just down to serve. So I was like, man, any way I can serve you, I got you. And so I was just serving. And like, people were just like, yo, Sam Morrison is a great writer. He's super cool. Like, he's awesome. He takes the time to talk to you and blah, blah. And so I just spent 2 years like in grad school, right? Just writing. Like, I would literally be writing articles in the locker room before practice, like after a game, writing articles, like, and like I was still managing. And so it was cool that I went to San Diego State because that allowed me to drive up to LA on the weekends and be up there and just be around people and learn, you know, go to different labels, learn from them, talk to them, and just meet the people I was writing articles for. And so for about 2 years, man, I just put my head down and I was like, you know what, if Elliot gave me a chance, I'm going to try as hard as I can to make this blog as great as I can.
And those articles were for Lyrical? Yeah,
for Lyrical. Okay, yep. And so all free, like Lyrical, we don't charge anything. That's the one thing I love about them. They're just like, yo, we don't charge for articles. Like it's out of the kindness of our hearts. And so
I have so many questions right there.
Yeah. A bunch.
800 articles.
A bunch. Yeah.
That's nuts.
I think it's like 7.
Around.
Yeah. You're
like
around.
Whatever.
Yeah. 750.
Several hundred.
Many.
Okay. You still right now talking to you have this very humble excitement. Like you genuinely love music.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's the best.
Still there. You're not jaded.
Yeah.
That's a lot of artists.
I know.
And being so aware of Elliot putting you on and like kind of like this, like paying it forward. Yeah. Did you ever at any point get jaded or too cool?
For sure.
How do you keep that spark? How do you, as a writer, give a shit 700 times?
Yeah, it's hard, man. And I wouldn't say I've made enemies, but I've definitely made mistakes. I look back on all of it. And there are things I wish I would have done better. Different relationships I wish I would have stewarded well. Favors I wish I would have followed through on. It was a lot. Yeah. I think early on, it was
a lot of learning.
Yeah, so much learning. And like I look back and, I'm just like, man, like I wish I wouldn't have done that and this and this. But early on, it was really about just me finding music and just like scrolling through Spotify and SoundCloud and just writing. Yeah. But then the moment someone finds out you're a writer, PR email, publicist. And I'm just like, and I love publicists. Like I love them. They're great. They help me do my job. But when you're just getting so many pitches every single day and so many ideas for articles and just things that you may not be passionate about, like it definitely, it clouds your judgment a bit, because it's like, I can also use this to benefit my career, but that might not be ethically what I'm called to do. And so when you're getting all of that, when you get all of that input, it's so hard to pick what you output.
That was
and
like so my question.
Yeah, it's so the 800, there probably definitely are articles in there that I kind of felt obligated to write, because someone reached out and was trying to be kind, or, someone was important. So I was like, like I trust them. So I'll write this article for them. And definitely, bro, like definitely got jaded for sure. Like definitely got to a point where I was missing out on writing about some really awesome things in the way I wanted to write it, just because I felt obligated to write, because someone pitched it to me.
Yeah. Would you ever have like articles you had to write on behalf of the team? Like the team would come to you and say, hey, we have to cover this artist.
No, never. Yeah. And that's what I love about them. Like it was really just like, you write it write at your own pace, which was cool. But
it sounds like you had like the thing that you light up on was not the pitches, but your own discovery.
Yeah.
Like when you would do the homework,
I loved it.
Yo, this is exciting.
I loved it. And it was also just the balance. Like I just loved finding stuff myself. It just made it so much, because I could articulate how that song made me feel, right? Yeah. Instead of someone saying, hey, you should feel this way. Hey, this artist blends alt R&B and jazz fusion. I'm just like, okay, like I didn't get
as far as the pitch
the pitches, exactly. And so,
because my other question in that, because I when I do this podcast, I try so hard, like so many things are happening in my mind at the same time. Like I'm locked into your story, but then I'm also always trying to act as the proxy listener that's sitting right there that wishes they could ask the question.
Oh
say it.
Yeah.
And the question that I would imagine somebody listening to this right there is like, okay, sick, but like, I have the perfect project for Lyrical Lemonade. How do I pitch this to Sam and not have him be jaded? How do I have him care? So like, what is the perfect pitch? Like, how could somebody do that right if you're not discovering it?
I'm going to detail the perfect ideal pitch that I want at some point, but then I'll detail the second best perfect pitch, which would probably be the perfect
more
pitch.
Realistic.
Like I said, everything is the same these days. Everything is the same. And it was funny, I actually was at the label yesterday. I played some music for some of my bosses of what I'm working on. And the energy of just being in a room and playing music was so special, where I was like, hey, like, here's this, like, and you just sense the excitement. In a perfect world, bro, when I move out here and a manager or a publicist, I might not be, this might not catch on as fast as I want. They might just be like, screw Sam. But I'm going to tell people, if you want me to hear a song, come to my house, let me make you a matcha. Let's sit down on a really cool couch like this. Let's get some speakers and like, let's walk through it. And like, that is what will get me excited.
That's
like that.
Dream.
Cause like, cause when you're alone and you just have your janky AirPods, right? Like there's no context, right? It's like, okay, cool. Let me press play on this demo, this Google Drive. Okay, cool. But like when you're with someone, you can like feel their energy and like really understand like, okay, cool. This is what the intention is behind this song. I think that makes such a big difference. And so my ideal future pitch is me just inviting people over and just kind of doing what you're doing, but just hang out, listen to music and vibe. But then
learning the people just as much as the song.
Exactly. Yeah. But then
that's beautiful.
It's really cool. And so, but then I think the more realistic is, let's for real find a time to just talk on the phone. I tell people all the time, I'm much more inclined to serve you if I know you. Like, and which is crazy because it's like you want to serve people selflessly without knowing them. But it's like, if I know you, if I hear your voice, if we make a connection, if I know that you're not just this robot, I'll probably help you out. So I think for anyone who's like, and it's hard, but then even like less than that, like just send me an email, with a cool tagline, a cool subject line, like when I got my A&R consultancy, which is, down the line. We'll get to that. But yeah, I DM'd Johnny and I sent him a DM and I was like, I sent him an email and the subject line was proof that I deserve to be not deserve. I think it was proof that I can be an A&R consultant. He was like, yo, nuts. So it's like, send me an email with the dope subject line and just tell me why you love the song. Tell me why you love it and why I should care about it. And so I think those are like the 3 ideal situations. But yeah, first, send me an email, be passionate about it. Second, if you can get a hold of me, call me and let's just talk for 10 minutes and so I can feel your passion. Then 3, when I move out here, come over for matcha.
So kind of what I'm hearing in all of those is like the more human the more authentic, real personal connection, the better.
Definitely.
So as somebody, and it doesn't have to be Lyrical Lemonade, it doesn't have to be Early Rising, it doesn't have to be anything with you specifically. I think this would probably apply to a lot of things.
Everything.
Like, when you are pitching and when you're kind of making that reach out for somebody or something that could give you a step up, how can you challenge yourself to make it human? How can you keep it real to the level where it's 100%. Not just the copy paste?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's, and I think when you do that, because I'm human. Yeah. So it's like, I'm human. Like you may look at me and I'm not big at all. Like I haven't done anything yet, but I'm human. Like remember that the people you're reaching out to are still very human as well. Right. And so it's like, don't inflate this view. Right. It's like, bro, like I literally live at home and I forget to clean up my room. My mom yells at me. It's like, I'm just like you, bro. Keep it human, so I think that's the best advice I can give to somebody.
I didn't want to derail too hard on your story.
That's awesome.
Like, I always try to think about those things.
Keep it human.
It's so wonderful to have you here and so valuable to hear that. So
100%.
When experts can speak to those things, I'm always just like, oh my God. Please.
Yeah.
Okay. So you fucking grind 2 years writing,
18 to 20,
discovery, putting in the work, and still doing things with Lyrical Lemonade. Yeah. The question in my head is, I obviously know that early rising is a thing, a thing that I respect quite a lot.
It's a thing. Thank you, bro.
And I also feel like you mentioned a little bit of a man named Johnny, so I feel like there's still some bits of your story here. So
there's many bits of the story. So I was grinding. I respect, and I'm actually going to DM Cole at some point. But because he reached out to me a while back and he's like, bro, like I appreciate you for everything you do. Like I was like, dang, Cole, cool. I was like, Cole Bennett followed me. I was like, that's crazy. Like,
wow, that's actually though. So like even writing for Lyrical, it's not like instantly. It's like, here's the members only jacket.
Yeah, no. It took me some time to get integrated with the squad, but slowly and surely, all the guys, from Jake to Sal to Wyatt, like all those guys kind of began just like reaching out and just like connecting, like, hey Sam, like we appreciate you, you're killing it, blah blah. Because they've been, it sucks because like if I lived in Chicago, like because they've been just like, Sam, we want to get you out here to do more like in-person stuff, whatnot. But I've lived in Arizona. Yeah, like Cole DM'd me and he was just like, bro, I appreciate you. And like obviously like Elliot's the GOAT, but it's like Cole built this, like it is. We are witnessing with Cole a generational figure. Yeah. For real. Yeah. I think we take that for granted in the sense where it's like, he is a generational figure, someone who I'll be able to tell my kids like, yeah, like I knew him, like he did this, like we don't see that often, right? Like we don't like, we talk about like we don't see just people doing honest and like great things. And so I respect him so much, and I just appreciate him for like allowing me to be a part, to even just rep the Lyrical Lemonade name, right? Like something he built, he's allowing me to like pretty much be an ambassador for his company in a sense, by the articles I write, by the way I talk about Lyrical's awesome. Like just the way he set up the business, the culture, like those guys are just so cool. I'm like, this is awesome. But at the same time, I don't think that Cole started Lyrical Lemonade for no one to come behind him and be a trailblazer too. Like, I really think that like Cole did something that has inspired others. And it's like, I feel like it would be a disservice to him if I didn't take what I learned or like took what I observed and like tried to build something great too. Right. Cause it's like, greatness inspires greatness. And so I just think it would have been a shame if I would have just like, wrote on his coattail and just, Cole Bennett. It's like he put in the work so he can inspire others to do the same, right? Yep. Like I think that like his story is a small town kid who picked up a camera, went to DePaul, like dropped that's meant to inspire people like him to do the same exact thing. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to do my own thing. But I was like, no, like I'm going to stay here. I'm going to pay my dues and be with this team. But like also I'm going to do something like different. I want something that is under my name. Like I want to do something cool, right?
Yeah. I love that. And I can't help but, as you're saying that, think about the podcast, because I had like my biggest podcast inspiration was called Short Story Long
Fire
by this dude, Chris Paff, or Drama. And a lot of my early episodes, almost now I'm like, that's like 2 copy paste of that. But you can kind of feel like, oh, well, there's this thing, Lyrical Lemonade. Like, why should I do my own? It's already huge. I have this association or whatever. But I think I encourage everybody to try their own thing or do their own thing.
Sure.
Because everyone is going to have their own voice. Everyone is going to have their own unique perspective. So even if you took the inspiration and had no originality and straight tried to copy and paste it, it would still come out different, because everyone is different people.
Exactly.
Now, do I think that's the formula? No, make your own
Heck
thing.
no.
But I love that you did that. And I think you're right. And I think that anyone with like proper self-confidence and that wants to see people win would agree that is the lesson to take from it.
It is. And it's cool because even as I sit and think about that, man, it's like my dad always tells me, he's like, leaders birth other leaders. Like leaders. He's like, if you're a leader, you create other leaders. And it's like, Cole is a leader and he creates other leaders. Like, and I'm not saying I'm just like a great leader, but it's like,
it's your inspiration.
It's my inspiration. Right. And so it's just so cool to be able to, it's I think that's the coolest thing. And I love inspiration, man. Like, it's just super cool. And so I got to a point, and that's half the inspiration, but I just got to a point because like I write about bigger artists and things like that. But I was like, man, I really want to create something, because like so many smaller artists, you know, like can't get on Lyrical and things like that. And I was like, you know, like I want to, and it's not that they can, it's just like, there's so many artists, right? It's like, there's so many.
It's huge. I mean, it's
the
number one blog when you Google it.
Exactly.
It's only growing.
It's only grown.
It's like you can only put so many people on.
And so it's like, I was like, man, like, I want to write about these like middle artists and middle tier artists and bigger artists and things like that. But I was like, there also is just this really small demographic of just artists who like, even before they just need help. Right. And so I was like, I remember, and this was inspired because I was working with an artist, one of the most talented artists that I've ever worked with. Like this kid, Charlie Powers, to this day, he is one of the most talented people I've ever been around. Like, you talk about a God-given talent, like Charlie was sick. And so I was managing Charlie. Charlie was a friend of the artist I managed first, who was writing for in Lyrical Lemonade. And I remember me and Charlie put out a song together in, I want to say it was, when did we put it out together? We put a song out together. I forgot when it was, but I just remember being so sad that I couldn't get him on, because I wrote for Lyrical, but I was like, man, I want to get him on different things. I want to get him on this playlist. And I just remember I was like, man, like, I was so sad that I couldn't get him on different blogs and playlists. And I was like, man, this sucks. I was like, this kid is good.
Yeah.
But no one's hearing him.
Yeah.
And so my dad was like, hey, bro, he's like, if no one's going to do it for you, you got to do it yourself. And my dad is just the GOAT. Like, my dad is the GOAT. I like both him and my mom. Dude. Like, they're just so, they just give me the best words of wisdom. And
Shout out to the raddest parents.
Listen, my parents are phenomenal. Like, I hope I can be the parents that they were for me.
That's so cool.
It's cool. And so, remember, I was in grad school, finishing up my Homeland Security master's degree, which is so random. I was with my girlfriend. It's cool because, like, with my ex-girlfriend, but I have much love for her. Because she was like there. Like, she was the one who was like, Sam, like, you should definitely start something. Like, you should start. Like, she was so supportive and cool. Now I'm over here simping about my ex. I just remember I was laying in my bed one night and I was texting her. It was like 3 a.m. And I was like, I want to create a place where it's solely dedicated to like early artists. Like, I'm talking like 1,000 monthly listeners, or like under 200,000 monthly listeners, like early artists, right? Because I was like, I'm tired of working with artists who are so good, who are so great, who just like don't have the means of getting to that next level. And like, I told myself, I was like, it was kind of like, it was an inspiring moment, but it was also like a vendetta, because I was like, I'm never going to allow Charlie's music to not be heard again. So I was like, I'm going to create a place where I can put it on and like it can actually like, push the needle.
Fuck, that's
and
cool.
I was just in my room, right? Text my ex-girlfriend, and I'm going through Instagram. I'm trying to figure out like tight like names Instagram handles, and I was like, early. Okay, rise. Okay, right. Okay. early risers. Oh no, let's take it. And I was like, crap. I was like, early rising. And the handle was open. Well, it wasn't open. We got the handle, but early.rising was open.
And like the IP was there.
The
like
IP, yeah, exactly.
There wasn't
the,
really
the only thing that popped up when you typed in early rising was 10 healthy habits to wake up earlier and just junk like that. So I was like, oh, we're in there.
Done.
And so I was like, man, like I want to create a place where I can, one, attract all of my early industry homies who are trying to find good music, but then also like putting these artists on the radars of them. So like making this really good community where it's like, it's all about, if you're an early riser, if you're a hardworking person, if you love finding music, if you're an A&R manager, like you follow this because we're going to like really just like flood this thing with like great music. And so it started off as just a playlist. I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a playlist every Sunday. That's going to be the next Music Friday. Really cool. And so I remember I reached out to, there were these two girls who reached out to me just to connect. And I thought they were really cool. And this was like around the time I had the idea for it. And they both sent me music for lyrical stuff. But I was like, hey, like, do you guys want to help me curate a weekly playlist? And they were just like, yeah, like for sure. And like one of the girls, bless her heart, her name's Corinne Dole. And she's like, it's just cool. I always tell this story. Like anytime I'm on a platform and I have a chance to show Corinne love, Corinne told me, she was like, Sam, like my goal is to be a major label A&R one day. Like she was working a job back then that she was like, yeah, I want to, you know, do this one day and I want to do A&R stuff. And like Corinne single-handedly like built the taste of early rising. Like she, when I tell, like I'll never, when it comes to finding music, when I'm in my room, locked in my room, I have a matcha, I am on Spotify, like there's no one better. Like I'm in my bag. But she's better than me. Like she's good. She's very, very good at what she does. And like, I'd be like, girl, how are you finding this stuff? And she would just find really cool stuff. And like a lot of the stuff that she predicted, like has popped off. It's nuts. Like Doechii, Corinne was on that junk. So like,
who?
Doechii. Yeah. So Doechii's with TDE. So like nuts. So she was on that. And so
I thought you said Joji.
Yeah, no, Doechii. And I think Doechii's with, forgot who she's with. But yeah, so she was on that early. Everyone was like, yo, what is this? But like it popped off. Like Corinne is the GOAT, and she ended up like leveraging early rising, like helping us grow. But then now she's an A&R virgin, which is like, it's just nuts. And like she did it. And so like that's the coolest thing is I was like, man, like early rising served its purpose. Like it connected dots for somebody. And so I reached out to those two girls and we just started curating a weekly playlist and just like putting artists on it. It started just as a playlist. We had like 10 followers for the longest time, and started as a playlist. And people were just like, yo, this is sick. Like y'all should do more. So we then obviously started being active on Instagram page and things like that, posting like weekly things. And then we started inviting industry people to like curate for us. And then we started doing like advice call. We just started doing so much stuff. And like, it took on what's the phrase? It took on a world of its own or whatever it is. It just took on something so special that I wasn't really expecting.
Can I make an assumption about that?
Yes. Talk to me.
I feel like as you're explaining that though, none of that was contrived. I feel like you were just doing the things that logically made sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cause like everyone, like I told, cause another nugget from my mom, she was like, Sam, people are more, my mom, they're just wise. They're like, people are more, yeah, they were just like, people will be more susceptible to listening to you, helping you, you know, like talking to you if you just serve them. Yeah. She's like serving is the key. And I was just like any meeting we would have with early rising, like with my team, I was like, y'all, this is a blog where we're going to serve the heck out of people. Like if we can't say this is how it's going to serve XYZ, we shouldn't do it. Like
that's your mission statement.
Yeah. Like we are here. Like our little mission thing in our bio is home to the early risers, but it started off like our thing was like here to serve. Like our thing is just selfless service. Like I'm just marked by the life of Jesus and just how he like served people so well. Yeah. And I'm just like, I just want to serve. Like, I just want to serve people without expecting anything back. And so really our whole ethos and our goal in the beginning was, hey, like, how can we just serve the artists that we really, really care about? And it just grew, man. Like it just grew quickly. And obviously like we're nowhere where I want us to be. I want us to be bigger and, you know, more impactful, but like it's been blessed because I think of that like heart of service, and it's just cool seeing, what has transpired in the last, 2 years. It's like to have 19,000 people follow an account. That's not a million, but 19,000 is a lot.
Think about that many people in a room.
It's a lot of people, right? Who trust us and say, hey, like, Sam, we trust your taste. And so that's essentially like how Early Rising was birthed. And to go back to my story about Charlie, I told Charlie, I was like, give me a year. I'm going to build this up and it's going to look a lot different. And started making friends. I met great people at the Spotify, at the Apple Music, just at different DSPs. And I met people at, cool blogs, and I was running a really cool blog myself. And so you mix all of that together and you just like watch the way God works. And Charlie dropped in. We don't work together anymore. He got married. Like, Charlie's doing his thing. He's great. But I was like, bro, like, we're going to put out a song together, and like, we're going to check off all the boxes. Like, we're going to make the editorials. We're going to do this and that. And clearly there's more to it to, achieve long-term success. But we did it, like I told him, I was like, bro, like, I'm never going to allow your music to go unheard ever again. And so we connected with the right people. We made the right plays, and, he made his playlist, and, one of his highest streaming songs now is the one that we put out together. And he, opened for a couple artists, and it was just cool to see. It was just cool to see the vision. And I was like, bro, like, I'm going to use this platform to elevate you in some way. And it worked, and that's it. Like, I was like, if I can just serve and just help people get one step closer to what they, need to get to, like, it's just cool, man. It's really, really cool. So
what a great lesson.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like that's, and again, like, this is one of those things where if we stop and dissect that, it's like, as you explain it, it feels so simple. And I'm like, yeah, of course that makes sense. But again, for the person that maybe feels a little bit stuck, or that like they think about starting their own, it's like, you could see it now and it could almost be intimidating.
Yeah.
It's like, God, it looks so polished. Yeah. It's so good.
Oh no.
They're so good at finding artists. All of it's there, but it's like, it really was just you serving. It really was you just being like, cool, let me find the people that are passionate about finding music. Let me be passionate about finding music. Let me put it out. And the rest kind of came together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like, bro, to this day, bro, like, you literally just saw me post something on Early Rising. I'm literally at your house. Hey, bro, what's the Wi-Fi? Like, we're not, like, and I run a really, like, I have a great team. My team is awesome. We run a tight ship. Like, we're on top of things more than most.
How big is the team now?
So I, in the spirit of trying to give back, like we talked about, I've been not employed, but I have a bunch of writers. We have like 15 writers who just write on the blog, just for fun. And I'm like, hey, like, you're not going to be here forever. Like, use writing to get to where you need to get to. And then the core team is of like, there's like 6 of us, of the people who are like, doing, everything from my creative director and the graphics, me and the music team. I head up all of like our live event stuff. Me and my buddy Henry, Joe Upchurch does music as well. Julian does music. Yeah. Shane Roberts is our creative director. Lily does music as well. Jordan Ward heads up the editorial side. So I have like a really good, like, close knit team of people who just like really, really help out in some cool ways. So it's awesome.
That's incredible. And I would imagine for you, as like the founder of that, you are paying forward so much of like Elliot, and like you're finding the people that you think have the knack for writing, or definitely use it, and like giving them the platform to then go get their A&R job and all that, which is so special.
Yeah. Kids have gotten jobs because of Early Rising, which is pretty cool. It's a blessing.
Like, that's impacting culture.
It's really cool.
Like, that's something that I respect so much. That's so selfless.
Yeah, but bro,
we're serving.
So weird. I was talking to my friend last night. Like, she was like, why are you, she was like, how are you the way that you are? And I was like, I live by 2 very simple rules that I don't think are that trivial. Like, I don't think that these rules, that anyone can sit here and say, Sam, you're bad for that, or you're wrong. I told her, I was like, I just love God a lot, and I love people a lot. And that's like, I believe that my life is encapsulated in that. And like, obviously, I make mistakes and I mess up, and I sometimes might not love people as well as I want to, but I try to keep that at my, focal point. Like, I just love God and I love people well. And so far it's worked, and I'm going to just keep doing that until the wheels fall off. So
that's actually another example. Like, I don't talk about this a ton on the podcast, but I think like religion is always there to help people.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's like kind of the right and wrong approaches to that.
When you use it correctly. It's great.
Just off of us talking, like, I think you set such a great example of like, having faith in a good way of like, you're not out here shoving it down people's throats, but you're just like, this has been something that's been such a great North Star compass for me. And it's inspired you to treat others well and to 100%. Be your best self.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Like,
yeah. I grew up in the church, and my parents, they never shoved it down. They were like, you're coming to church because we can't leave you at home alone. Like, you're coming. But they never shoved it down my throat. They were kind of like, hey, like, we believe in Jesus. We believe that this is, the way in which we're called to live. And they're like, at the end of the day, if heaven's real, you're not getting there because of us. You're getting there because of your decision. And so they kind of just let me do my thing, and, went to college and, tried everything that I think the world, I just tried everything. I tried everything that everyone's like, hey, like, do that. It'll make you feel good. And I just did everything. And I was like, I still feel a bit empty and unfulfilled. And one night I have a tattoo on my leg, December 5th, 2017. I just literally heard the voice of Jesus, and he was like, bro, like, let's go. And I was just like, you know what? Like, what else do I like? Sure. And so that was the moment that completely changed my life. I went from being a really like selfish and just like immature and just not a quote unquote good person to now, serving people well. And it's actually nuts, like the full circle moment. So my dad's a pastor, but on top of Early Rising, Lyrical Lemonade, label stuff, live shows, I'm actually a full-time youth pastor at my church.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Which is nuts. So like that's my I have like, I feel like I'm always taking off like like it's like I do this
like in and so Scooby-Doo over here.
So yeah, man, and it's cool. So I do that full time as well, and youth pastor. I take care of 6th to 12th graders, and it's cool because I have been so impacted by the love of Jesus, where it's not a love that is contingent on my performance or what I do, or like the mistakes I've made, like my past. Like, I mean, bro, we're not the mistakes we make. Like, we're not, like, we're us, right? And so I just try to make sure that these students know that when they step foot into, our back room, our youth room, they understand before any of this religion, before any of this right and wrong, or how, like, I just want you to know that you are loved. And I think if we just started at that, a lot of the conversations we have following that would be a lot smoother if people just knew like, hey, like, you're really loved.
Dude, like, setting aside like any religious belief, like what you're saying is just like loving and helping people. 100%. How could anyone disagree with that, right? Like, so I don't want to even like, because there's anher part of the podcast. I actually really wanted to acknowledge that, because I think it's cool to see somebody young who like speaks of God and Jesus and your beliefs in a way where like, I'm like, fuck yeah. Dude.
Yeah, it's
like,
cool, man.
I really respect
bro,
that.
love, like, man, there's everything I do, man. Paul talks about it in one chapter. He just says like the aim of our charge is love. That's why it saddens me when I see, and we're not perfect, but it's love, man. Like it's love. And we could go on a long tangent, but like I said, my life has been changed by love, and I want to help change others through love. If it's not love, I don't really know how anyone's gonna ever listen to you, And I think that's why we live in the world we live in, is because there's a lot of people wanting to be right, a lot of people, wanting it their way, but they're missing that one piece of love, which I think is the connector. But I'll write a book. We'll talk about it.
Yo, I will read that book.
I appreciate that.
Okay. There's another part of your story that we haven't quite gotten to.
Johnny.
And I actually want to tell you a story
to
me,
then bro.
Segue you into this.
Tell me.
It's hilarious that I didn't realize that you guys work so close together. It's been a huge piece of my life. I feel like you could play a game with this podcast of how many times the name Johnny Minardi is brought up somehow. Hilarious. However, I remember when I was the most lost, when I was leaving the label and he had left, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Do I manage artists? Do I start a record label? Blah, 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 blah. Because back in the day, he started LLR, right? Which was his first
I remember. Yeah.
And that was like his resume to then get his label jobs. And he gave me this piece of advice, and I hate him for all the advice he gives me, because it's advice where I actually have to go do work. Think about things and talk about things. But he's like, dude, if you want these opportunities and you're not getting them, go start the thing and prove that you can do it.
Shout out.
So he's like, if you want to work at a dope label, if you think that labels aren't putting on and seeing what you see, go start that label then. If you want that blog that you wish existed and you're not getting featured on it, go start that. He gave me this advice. I hadn't met you, right? This was just some friend giving a hard reality advice. you kind of started that blog. You kind of did exactly that. That advice that he gave me. Like, you're like, well, I wanted to get my artist exposure. And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
The crazy full circle moment is this dude gave me that advice years ago. And that helped me a lot. I mean, he bullied me into starting the podcast in the most loving way. He bullied me into starting my label project like, because of that. Like, okay, like if you feel like you're that good and you're not getting those opportunities, then go make them for yourself. Yeah. So you went and made that for yourself. Yeah. But now you also work with him.
Now I work with him.
And I think I can only imagine that when that opportunity aligned and he looked at what you were doing, that job went to you and not anyone else. Because before you talked about it, you were about it.
Man, that's wow. Yeah. And the story of Johnny goes so much deeper than just that, right? Because my dad was like, bro, he's like, until you're making money from music, it's not a job, it's a hobby. And I was like, that's another nugget. My parents just be saying the craziest,
is crazy.
John.
I need to have your parents on the pod.
Yeah, they will drop. They will just speak in parables the whole time. But I was like, okay, I need to figure out a way in which I can get paid for finding artists. Because like this is like it's
serving.
I'm serving, but I gotta I'm trying to do my thing. Like I was dating a girl, I was trying to buy a house and junk. I was trying to save up. So I was like, let me try to find a way to make money. And someone was like, hey, my buddy Nick Miller, he helped me. Golden Kids Group, that's my dog. He put in a good word for me with Johnny as well. But he was like, yeah, bro. He's like, you can get like an A&R consultancy. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, you can literally get paid to like help labels find music. And I was like, no way. And so Johnny followed Early Rising. I DM'd Johnny and I was like, hey man, thank you for following Early Rising. Like I'd love to connect at some point. Like would love to connect. And he was like, for sure. We talk a bit. He gives me his email. I send him a playlist and it's like a 10-song playlist of like songs that I like loved, but I wrote like a little mini article for each as to why I felt like they were going to pop off.
Sick.
In the subject line, I was like, this is proof as to why I should be an A&R consultant for you. He brought me on like the next week. Crazy. So I started scouting for him. And this goes back to the fact that love, right? Like love will always be the most impactful force in the world. Like unconditional love, right? A love that's not contingent on your performance or how you've treated somebody, right? Like if we treated people like their worst mistake, man, we're all terrible, right? And so Johnny, I'm working for Johnny, and like early on in like my management days, I got really close with Arista, and another mentor of mine, Ryan Chisholm. I'd always wanted to work for Arista. I was like, Arista's cool. Like I love the blue vibe. I was like, this is really cool. And as I'm getting settled at Elektra, wasn't getting paid crazy like much, but as I'm getting paid at Elektra, Ryan's like, hey bro, like I want to introduce you to Dave Massey, blah blah, and I started talking to those guys while I'm at Elektra, and they were kind of like, hey man, like come over here, and they offered me more money. And being the young dumb 21 22-year-old I was like, you know what, like I do need more money, right? Like money definitely speaks, and I'm not proud of it, but I left. Like I was with Johnny for 3 months and then I left.
Oh,
I left, which exactly. I left.
Whoa.
I left. And Johnny was so cool. He was just like, bro, he was like, upward and onward, do your thing. Like, if you ever need anything, like I'm here, we're here for you. And left fast. And it was so weird. And spent the rest of the year at Arista. And I don't know, something just told me to like reach out to Johnny while I was there, and like we just connected and chatted, and he was just asking me how it was and just being super supportive. And I remember the president of Elektra called me in like December, was like, hey bro, he's like, what's going on, man? Like what? He's like, we need you. Like we need you back. And I was just like, dang. And so I finished up at Arista, and despite the fact that I left Elektra, despite the fact that I literally left to chase more money, despite the fact that I turned my back on them in a sense, right? It's not that deep, but the fact that I left, but they still loved me and brought me back, like that's Jesus to me. I was like that, like that's religion, like that's God. Like you literally brought me back, even though I did nothing for you, even though like it was nuts. And so John, like in the same way I owe a lot to Elliot, I owe a lot to Johnny for just like he didn't believe in me only when I was with him at Elektra. He believed in me no matter where I went. And like, that was just so cool and like so impactful. And now, like I told you, like, as long as Johnny's at a lecture, I will be at a lecture. I will be, like 100%. It's like you invest in the people who believe in you. Right. And so, yeah, just like the way in which Johnny has helped me, the way he talks about music, the way like his track record proves it. Like, he's good at what he does. He's so good. And like, Johnny just loves music and loves people. Like, I just see the through line of just like successful people. It's like just a good person who like does it right.
Y'all remind me of each other though, because every time I talk to him, like, dude, he doesn't care about like the status, the chase, the whatever. He doesn't, the dollars or the like any of that is not it. Like, the dude just loves finding music and growing artists that he believes in.
Exactly.
And I hear that in your story. As I'm learning it, I'm like, cool, all these like little moments and all that. And like, yeah, you probably left because like to a degree, like money, you have to survive, you have to pay bills, but like that's not why you're here. And another thing that I thought about as you were explaining this that we didn't talk about that maybe somebody could misconstrue is you did all this writing for Lyrical Lemonade. You put all this time into making Early Rising. You have a team of 5 to 15.
Yeah.
You don't need to share exact numbers, but like I could assume that somebody would be like, oh, that's your career. Like you're fucking loaded because of that. I would imagine that that's maybe a break even after, or maybe you're losing money.
Yeah, no, I haven't really made much from Early Rising. Maybe something to cover some flights and
exactly. Like you could break even and like there'll be things that come in to cover specifics, but like,
but up until
that wasn't like some master plan, make this to make a bunch of money.
And even right now, like that's not, and clearly I want to be wise about it and smart because now I am like trying to scale a business, but the money, like I said, the money will come if you serve and just do cool stuff. You know, I think that's the biggest thing.
And
like
that's what I see in both you and Johnny. And like, I think that's what I see in all the real ones. Like, it's never the first priority. It's just it's the byproduct of doing what you love 100%. And doing something great. And then you get the lawyer that calls you because opportunities align.
Because we got to sit and sign deals and junk. Definitely.
But like, that's not the intention. And I think I got that wrong when I was younger. Like, I think I wanted the status more than I wanted the product.
Wow.
And I think that like, the internet is bad at making it seem like that.
Oh yeah.
And then when you really start to find your pocket and what you love, your priorities realign, or you find the people that you align with. And 100%. You're like, oh shit, the super successful ones never did it for the check. They did it because they loved it. And that's they can put the hours in, they can put the years in and grind without the check because it's what they love. And that's where like I had this moment where I'm like, how did I not know that y'all were so closely connected? Because like, you two are people that I think set that example so well. And like,
appreciate that.
Call it God, call it the universe, call it anything. The fact that
divine,
you align, the fact that like this story is tying together the way it is like,
it's cool.
It to me, I'm like, all this
it's a blessing.
In the world.
It's a blessing.
So cool.
It's cool, man. Like I said, I'll always, divine timing, divine direction. It's all a thing. It's all very, very real to me. And like I said, and yes, I've worked hard, but my career has been marked by people's kindness, right? Like just by people's kindness and selflessness and love. And so I think the more that I keep that at the forefront of everything I do, I'll be fine. You know, like I can be done with Early Rising tomorrow and be like, I'm good. You know, like I'm good, which I'm not going to. Like I got to take this to farther what it is. But yeah, I think that you hit it, bro. Like that's it. Like it's intention is so big. If you lose your intention, you lose everything. You know, like you have to I find myself always having to refocus and recenter and like get back to the mark, because sometimes, like you said, you get jaded, you kind of move every which way. And, you know, you need moments where you kind of get, you know, knocked down a bit to really feel like to get back to the center, get back to what started this in the first place,
right?
Serving. And so,
because I would imagine, like we talked about this on a very high level and like all of your values and your principles in this story is incredible, but it's also like what we didn't talk about is the day-to-day of like music discovery. Like here you are in a position where a huge amount of what you do hinges on finding new artists, finding new music, being a tastemaker. What a challenge that actually is.
It's really hard
now, where it's like, I was saying this right before we started recording, but it's like, what is this balance between musical integrity and chasing what's hot and what's, you know, TikTok is the easy one to talk about. It's like, cool, you're a tastemaker, Early Rising, finding the early stuff, go scroll on TikTok, find the thing that's trending, you're done. But like that that's got to be a weird, hard balance for you right now. Like, I would imagine you do have hard days where you're like, how do I do, like, what's the point? How do I do this? How do I find the stuff that's early but matters?
Yeah, man. It's TikTok, man. I love TikTok. It's great. I wish I was on it sooner because I probably would be a millionaire. But TikTok is great, man. Like it's allowed artists to have true independence.
Oh, dude, you know, I'm team TikTok.
Team TikTok, man. I love it, bro. Like I'm on it all the time. I think it's so cool. But at the same time, more. It's like, bro, this is such a interesting question, man. Because it's like, man, TikTok blows up songs. It's so cool. When you blow up songs, you get money. A label gets money, right? Like you see all those streams. Those streams are dollar signs, right? And so it's like, would you rather find a song that's moving on TikTok that isn't great, that doesn't move you at all, that doesn't make you feel good, that doesn't speak to your soul, but it's streaming, it's doing well, and like the one, like if people are listening, that means it's important. I think it matters. Like I'll never sit and downplay the quality of a song just because I may not understand it because it doesn't touch me. But I think for your personal like sanity, right? Would you rather chase after a song because it's moving and it'll make your company money, which is important as well because you have to be a good employee? Would you rather do that, right? And sacrifice like your personal taste and like what you really love and like what got you into music in the first place? Understand, TikTok didn't get us into music, right? Like it didn't at all. Like I did not join the music industry because of TikTok. I joined the music industry because of music, right? Like because of music, because I want to work with an artist who's as big as a Michael Jackson or a Drake or whoever, right? Like I got in it because of the art of it, right? Like
you got into it because of a Scooter documentary.
Because of a Scooter documentary. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like because Christina Aguilera's You Lost Me changed my life. And I was like, I want to make songs like that.
Right.
It's nuts, man. So I think, and I lost my train of thought with that because I was getting so deep. Well, you said
there were options, right?
Options.
So you have now. You have TikTok.
Yeah, so you have TikTok, right?
We embrace it.
Yeah, and so
you can chase the thing. You don't want to discredit the trending song.
You don't because like there's an audience. So if there's an audience, you have to clap it up and say, okay, cool. Like people like this, so therefore I have to care. But it's like, would you rather that, right? And sacrifice your personal music taste and what caused you to want to get into music in the first place, right? Or, do you want to spend your time, finding the artists who are still really, really good, like who are phenomenal, who move you, who can be these career artists, who make beautiful songs, who are amazing songwriters, who really care about the art, but they might not have the viral moments. Like, what is going to allow you to sleep better at night? Clearly, the TikTok stuff, that'll help you sleep more comfortably. You'll be in a house with AC. You might have a nicer, bed, a couch. You might drive a Tesla. But it's like, for you personally, you have to ask the question: where does the value lie? Right? Where am I willing to compromise? Right? What is valuable to me? And so I think where these kind of meet, and like what I want to find out how I can do is like, how can I match the viral moments with just the sheer raw, true beauty, art-filled music that I fell in love with, right? Like, how do I take an artist who I believe in so much, where the music is amazing, and how can I pair that with these really cool TikTok moments? And so it's a really hard balance, man. Like it's hard because everything is, oh, this person did this and this person did that. And so it's just trying to, like, it really comes down to just knowing your why and knowing what's going to cause you to go to bed at night and say that you did some good, in the industry you say that you love so much, right? Like there's so many things, man. But I just know for me, I just have too much pride, man, to not do what I love and not do what I want to do. Like because if that's the case, man, like that's not culture. Like TikTok is culture, but it's like doing what everyone is doing, bro. That's not culture. That's not like you have to do what you love and like make others follow suit as well. So it's just like, I know for me, man, I there's so many great things about TikTok. TikTok is phenomenal. It's like, I encourage every artist, if you're an artist trying to start your career, TikTok is nothing but just gaining fans, right? Like if one TikTok video equates to one fan, that's enough for me to make 10 videos every single day, 10 fans a day, right? Like the artists I work with, I make sure they know I'm never going to ask you to do something that you won't do yourself. If you go on the early rise on TikTok, bro, I'm on there every day doing something, right? Because I'm just like, if I'm sitting here saying the importance of building a fan base, I got to do it myself as well, right? So it's like, TikTok is so important because you can literally find your fans. And it's like, if that's not enough for you to get on there, it's hard for me to sit here and say that you would do anything for your career, because it's not about the dances. It's not about, but it's just like, it's like if there are avenues that can get you to the place you want to get to maybe a little quicker, like you might not like it. Like the one thing I think we should realize in life is like some of the best things that I've ever done, or like the most impactful things that I've ever done for my career, I didn't like doing them. They actually sucked. I didn't like them. Like it took work, right? And so with artists who, complain about TikTok and like, I wish, like, times have changed and like it sucks, and like hopefully we can get back and we can do, which is why I'm doing a lot of cool things in live event space now. It's like trying to get things back to the way they were, but it's like times have changed, and we can either whine about it, or we can find a way to make the times benefit us and like help us. And so I encourage every artist, like there are fans out there who really will like your music, but you just have to do your job and just try and get it to them, right? And I think that's what TikTok does. Dude. And so I never want artists to be like, oh, he's telling me to get on TikTok. I'm not like, but it's like, do what you can.
Dude, you said that really beautifully. And I think that it's like, it's a tool, but it's not the tool.
It's not a tool.
Gospel.
Exactly.
It's not it. Like,
it's not.
And it's like,
it's a tool to help you.
You're right. Like you need, like if you care and if you say you want fans, clearly it's the spot. Go get them.
Yeah, exactly.
But to compromise your integrity and who you are as a person, and to pander to that purely just for the fame or the clout or the blowing
that's where it's
up
not good.
That's not
that's where that's where I'd say you're like, now TikTok is using you.
Right. Exactly. It's that, right? Like use it or let it use you.
Exactly.
And I think that like it's just a weird place in music and in culture, actually past music, where it's incredible if you are a visionary and if you have something to add to the conversation and you create something new and you try shit. It's great. I think it's the most fun social platform right now. You can take yourself the least
it's so much fun. I love the junk. I'm on it and I love it. I have so much fun.
As you walked up, you were telling me about a dude that became famous
I saw a TikToker, bro. Like if
that's hilarious.
I hope you see the light skin guy, curly hair, he like drinks these big things in like one gulp, and I saw him, I was like, dang, like he's a real person. That's all. Like that's cool. That's TikTok crazy. Is sick.
So like that's there, but I just think like somebody else said it in a cool way where they were like, you don't want to become famous for doing something that you don't love.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like if you become famous or if you follow it so hard where you're doing it to get the likes and the views and the followers, but you're doing something that really doesn't represent you, then what's the fucking point?
You shouldn't do it. Yeah.
But
gotta find a way.
If you use it as a tool, and then that can lead back to real integrity in music and art or something that you're trying to say, I think that that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think about that a lot, and I'm maybe similar to you of like, I'm not the old head shaking a stick at it. In fact, like I am pushing myself more and more to try new ways and to tell stories.
100%.
I think that I had another person on the podcast, and their like real main thing is like they're killing it on TikTok. They're a filmmaker and a storyteller, and they have gotten a lot of jobs through it. But storyteller, it teaches people to tell a story.
Tell your story.
Part of being an entertainer. You have to get good at that. So this is a new challenge to do so. But I really understand what you're saying, especially with early rising, especially as who you are as like finding early talent and trying to push the scene forward. Like it has to have more integrity. It has to. And it has to. Like we can't forget what actually matters.
We can't forget what got us here, man. Like, cause all the fluff is gonna fade away. You know, like it's gonna fade away at some point. And as long as we like you said, maintain that integrity, I think when it does fade away, we'll be happy. You know, we'll be good. So yeah, man.
Holy dang,
it's a lot. It's a lot, man.
What a conversation, dude. What a conversation.
That was fun, bro. That was like I appreciate you caring enough about what I'm doing to let me tell a bit of my story, man. It's a blessing, bro. Like I really appreciate you, man. Like this is really, really cool what you're doing. And I'm just hyped to just follow along this podcast and just see who else you get, man. Super excited.
I mean, it's the feeling is so mutual, and it's like part of me loves this because I get to share this story, and hopefully your story and you keeping it so real and sharing these things inspires others to go find that thing.
Definitely.
But it's also a little bit selfish because I get so inspired when I get to meet new people and hear stories like this. So thank you for being here.
Man.
You're one of those people.
Thank you, man.
I guess, I'll have a couple of guests where it's like, oh, maybe like you're a new name or an artist that I like, and I just want to hear your story. And then there's the people where it's like, I've watched you, I've seen you online.
Thank you, boss.
I want to hear everything.
Thank you.
And this was one of those. So thank you for sharing that.
Bro, thank you, man. I appreciate that. No, this is family, man. So anything I can do to serve you, bro, and your platform, man, this is just, it's really, really cool, man. So thank you so much.
Likewise.
Really cool. My man.
Boom. Done.